Hey, Mert, let's talk about Zoom meetings and Zoom webinars.
Oh, yeah, they're two very different things. This is part two of our hybrid society meetings discussions. And in the past, we explained that hybrid meetings are where part of the society meets in your normal meeting room and part of them are attending virtually. In 2020, we spent all year figuring out how to appear 100% virtually. And it was possible with Zoom. And these are the other segments that we're going to be doing tonight. Um, Zoom is our answer. And talk to me about the problem with some multiple devices. What do we prefer, Russ?
Well, I prefer the computer because then can see everything that I need to see. Some devices have limited, but the good news is that each of the devices, smart devices, computer tablets, are useful and can be used in Zoom meetings and webinars.
Yeah, I attended a Tinkering with Tech thing this afternoon using my smartphone because I was in the parking lot and I didn't have my computer with me. But Zoom can be used for general meetings, special interest groups, board meetings, conferences, institutes. We have seen this and done this, and we just want to show people how to do it. So here's the thing. Zoom meetings, free account, 40 minutes limit, but you can all log back in again. Or you can pay about $14.99 a month and have unlimited amount of time. I think the most we ever did was 24 hours, Russ. And we were pretty dead by then, weren't we?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, 100 attendees, and breakout rooms are only in Zoom meetings. So if your society is going to want to have some kind of a workshop where people go to different smaller rooms to get assistance, maybe there's one for each SIG on your opening meeting this coming fall. That's where breakout rooms are. But we use Zoom webinars, Russ. Why do we like that?
Well, I like it because to me they're more professional, more presentation. But the biggest thing that I like about webinars are the reminders. There's 3 reminders that come with webinars:
Mhm.
a week, a day, an hour, and I need those reminders because I put them on my Google Calendar.
I love it. Now, it is true that that both meetings and webinars have a confirmation email, but it's only the 3 reminder automatic emails. I'm not sending those out personally for Mondays with Mert. That it's built into Zoom, and you pay for that service when you sign up for the webinar option. Now, when you've got the webinar option where you're paying more per month, or you can pay it annually, you get 100 webinar attendees, but you get 300 meeting attendees. So that's a consideration. And those 3 reminder emails really help people, especially as we start going out, some of us. I'm planning to travel for a wedding for my daughter. I'm still going to wear a mask most of the time. Anyway, unlimited one-on-one. So Russ, you and I could talk till the cows came home to figure out our schedule for 2022.
Yep.
Um, we could record either locally on like the host computer, mine in this case, or we can record in the cloud. We have to have a Cousin Russ, a co-host. You cannot run an effective meeting with that. Look at you, smile behind your beard there. You know, though, we need you, Cousin Russ. And what do you do? Tell people what you do.
Well, co-host gives me an extra set of eyes for the host. Like, am I sharing screen? Do I have closed captioning? So I'm watching to make sure closed captioning is on the right screen for branding, and I
Mhm.
take questions and bring them in as appropriate.
Right. Now, We do have an audience watching us tonight, but we're only going to be handling their questions much later, not during this quick recording. Yeah, the co-host can make a distinction between an off-topic question or a point of information that needs to be answered in that moment for the conversation to go forward. And you'd think that meetings would be the best way to have conversation. Yeah, I think institutes work beautifully that way. But because of having a Cousin Russ watching the comments, the speaker or the host can continue with pushing the content out and trust that a Cousin Russ will do the job. I think I should take out co-host and Zoom should just call it the Cousin Russ position. Both meetings and webinars can handle polls, screen shares, whiteboards with annotation, and most recently, meetings and webinars have live voice to text. And Cousin Russ has to remind me to do it because I'm not accustomed to doing it that way. All right, so these are decisions that your society's leadership is going to have to make about what kind of budget do you have for these recurring meetings or webinars, how formal do you want it, etc. I really like the breakout room option as an alternative. And that, as I say, that's only in meetings. All right, next slide here, Mert. Okay, so another way to look at this is in a Zoom meeting, everyone's in one big room. They might be on a screen if you have 300 people there. As opposed to the select panel of like you and me tonight, Cousin Russ. The new part to actually, what I have to go through as a host, regardless of it being a meeting or webinar, is I have to remember to turn on the live closed captioning, and then we have to admit people from the waiting room if they're in a meeting, or I have to hit the broadcast button, which is what brought you all into our webinar this evening. And then I needed to hit the record button. But recording may not be something your society can do depending on your contract with your presenter. All right, let's put this into a little bit of context as well. It is possible from both Zoom meetings and Zoom webinars to simulcast, meaning your attendees come in by registering for the Zoom meeting or webinar, or they can watch it on YouTube and or Facebook. Did I get that right, Cousin Russ?
Yep.
It's possible. It's pretty heavy on resources, and sometimes it doesn't work. Like I completely lost one Mondays with Mert in the last 3 weeks because the connection between Zoom and YouTube wasn't working well. And you're going to need to know when you set it up if that YouTube event is public, unlisted, or private. All right, now we're going to have a visual portion of the show tonight, Cousin Russ. Meeting is everybody on the screen. Maybe they're buried a couple of screens later if you have 300 people. Webinars are just you and me. And apparently that picture of me was long before COVID because my hair's grown a bit. All right. All right, so this is what it looks like. You all can look at my shared screen, like if we were attending Mini-Mert, it could be this is my shared screen or the presenter screen. And then you could have the other portion, depending on if you have 1 or 2 screens, etc. It's so adaptable, Russ, isn't it?
It is, and each window that you have open, you could resize.
Oh, totally. Totally. You can do it with 1 monitor, 2 monitors. I happen to have 4 because Mr. Mert is, well, he's an engineer. Let's put it that way. Takes good care of me. Okay, but you always have the controls so that you as an attendee can leave, or you as the host or co-host can do what you need to bring up the chat well, we never have had to expel anybody. I think I was clear back in the Hangout days, Cousin Russ.
Yep.
It's all good. And you mentioned the chat. That can be popped out. Doesn't have to be attached to the side of the presenter screen. And I have mine resized on this screen below me so that I can see exactly what Betty Lou or Myra are saying. If we had more than you and I, we could change back and forth a lot more easily than we could last summer between speaker view and gallery view. And in fact, as the host, I can force people to look at it in my way. Wow.
Total control.
I know. So Dave Robeson, my cousin up there from Western Massachusetts Genealogical Society, will tell us that his society membership grew when he added a virtual component to his monthly meetings. We were the first virtual presenters. Sometimes attendees have all been in the meeting room and only a presenter was virtual. And then along came a snowstorm and some of his attendees attended virtually. Yeah. And so in 2017, what did we say, Cousin Russ?
Get them in the door.
And in 2021, we say,
meet them where they are.
Absolutely. That's what we're doing. Okay, so folks, our next meeting is going to be about the implications of recording your meeting. It's all part of a series we've called Hybrid Society Meetings. And meetings or webinars and recordings need to be decided by your society leadership before you approach the speaker with the contract. Nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.